Wavy Crocs, the wavy Nike shoes, the wavy diesel shoes. What's going on with shoes right now? Shoes are a direct response to technology. These are shoes that sort of are aspiring to look like something that is 3D printed, something that is sort of made by a computer, which ties into things that are sort of like the mashup shoes. Crocs is a lot of this. The sneaker loafer is an example of this. These are things that look like a sort of mishmash. They seem like a lot of contemporary technology, like TikToks, which are a mashup of different cultures, and music, which is a mashup of a lot of sampled songs. It's the same thing. But are any of these shoes functional? Do they make any sense in the real world? Is this going to fix something like Nike, which is sort of like having a lot of issues right now and really like sales are plummeting? Jeff Carvalho, who is one of the co-founders of the popular sort of streetwear site Highsnobiety, was on my podcast this week, and we asked him about it. I was curious what his take was on it.
When you say, okay, anything can be a shoe, do we lose the purposes of do we lose the purpose of shoes? You know what I mean? I guess, and I wonder how we think about that generationally or otherwise. Jeff's got his hand up. Go for it.
I think this is essentially the dilemma of a company like of Nike, where it's an absolute that function comes first for the athlete and design as a secondary. Now they changed that, I think, when they started to lose a lot of business to Adi pre-COVID, where they didn't embrace fashion designers as hard. But that is the dilemma. Is this shoe functional? I think it is.
Brings us to the origin of this whole movement, which was born of collaboration, born of a mashup again. The reason why we have the sneaker loafer, the reason why we have these new wavy shoes is because Adidas, as Jeff said, sort of started to push the boundaries. And like the biggest example of this was their collaboration with Kanye West. Like his sort of like Yeezy flats, his Yeezy slip-ons, like those were what pushed the movement forward. And as Jeff also says on the podcast, like a lot of this is also the influence of Virgil Abloh, who was sort of really questioning what a shoe can be on a formal level. At the end of the day, what all these things have in common, even if they become sort of a Frankenstein monster of design, is that they are something you can actually wear and actually walk in. We haven't gotten to the point where they have become unwalkable and unusable. Balenciaga's getting close to that, or at least under Demna they were, and like maybe he'll bring that to Gucci when he starts making shoes there. It's to be seen. But that's sort of like what the moment is. That's sort of like what we're sort of like wading through now is like, is the mishmash culture of shoes, number one, going to sell more shoes in the same way that people think that like, you know, AI is going to sell more technology, which then is going to trickle into even more mashup shoes and even more mashup things. But is that then going to make people wear more novel things? Or is it, at the end of the day, is this whole infrastructure going to collapse, or people are going to be like, no, a shoe is a shoe and it needs to be functional, and like we can make it as sort of wavy as we want and make it look like it's 3D printed all we want, but at the end of the day, like, no, it needs to be a fucking good shoe. That's the dilemma we're dealing with now, and I think it's a very modern dilemma. It's what we're seeing in the movies because of TikToks, that we're hearing in music because of things like TikTok as well, because of music being sampled, because of everything, the past, present, and future being an input for design. Very interesting, kind of complicated. What do you think?